Morning, even afternoon, we got a banger for y'all today, baby. What we got for you is a reaction video to Ornery. Putting Ornery's YouTube in the description. As always, check out his videos. This is the entire history of pay-to-win items throughout all of Warzone. There was a couple I forgot about in here. On top of that, there's one that I think he missed that I mentioned as well. I hope y'all enjoy this as much as I did. If you do, hit the like, hit the sub. Most importantly, be sure to tell somebody you love them. I'll catch you in the next one.
Variations of pay-to-win mechanics with supply crates and DLC guns in previous installments. So it was only a matter of time before the pay-to-win experience would graze Warzone. But today we're going to go through the entire history of pay-to-win in Warzone. I'm only including items from the premium battle pass or the store itself, so that means no DLC guns will be on this list since those are free to everyone, but just might take you a little bit longer than those who pay for it. Go ahead and comment the most pay-to-win feature we've ever seen in Warzone as we get started. Also, my allergies are getting the best of me, so my voice is a little off this video, so I apologize in advance.
How did I not think of the Roze skin, dude?
I think this was the very first example of pay-to-win in Warzone and was a camper's dream. In Season 4 of Modern Warfare 19, which is pretty much the first season of Warzone, the Roze skin was available at Tier 100. The skin was notorious for being extremely dark in an already not very vibrant map. It truly gave you an unfair advantage by blending into your surroundings. Roze also gained the reputation as a sweat skin in Warzone, but was quickly claimed by the rats and was abused by corner campers because it essentially granted you invisibility. There would be many times where you would just see bullets coming towards you from a Roze skin corner camper and still not even see the Roze skin while they're actively shooting you. They eventually nerfed the skin to make it a little more vibrant and it helped a little bit, but it was still advantageous nonetheless. I mean, seriously, these before and afters, there's like barely a difference. Regardless if you want to believe it or not, I firmly believe that this was a subtle marketing tactic to drive up their battle pass sales since you have a very sought after skin to be rewarded with, and at level 100 at that. Blueprints have been
I do remember there was one gun that was broken in Verdansk. I can't remember, but it was like a bundle that would one-shot. I don't know if he's gonna have
very
it in
interesting
here. It was
concept
like a
to
SKS
Warzone,
or something.
and do a good job of creating exclusive camos and effects for specific guns without changing any core stats of the gun itself. Wrong. The MAC-10 got a gallantry blueprint that was pretty mid at best as far as the aesthetic, but when tested was dealing significant more damage than the base MAC-10. The headshot damage was a whole 10 points higher, which chain reacted limb, chest, and neck damage to also be way higher. To put in perspective how broken this was, shooting someone in the pinky toe with this blueprint was the same as shooting someone in the head with the base MAC-10. That means that every single one of your shots at least was going to do the same damage a headshot was going to do on a normal MAC-10. If you're hitting anything but limbs, you were doing more damage than a normal headshot would do. So yeah, guaranteeing the shortest TTK ever with the MAC-10, no matter where you're hitting them. That moment you have with an SMG hitting mostly headshots, deleting your opponent is satisfying, and using this blueprint was pretty much always having a moment like that. And we all know the MAC-10 was a very broken meta SMG in the first place, and even after a handful of nerfs was still pretty viable throughout the rest of Warzone. But letting this blueprint see the light of day definitely gave it an extremely undeserved comeback. If I'm being honest, I've loaded up DMZ like once ever since it launched, but this mode is almost completely pay to win after doing research for this video. Pay to win may be a stretch. It's honestly more of like a pay to convenience yourself and kind of expedite things. And what I mean by that is there is a ton of operators and blueprints that give you an inherent advantage in your gameplay. There are smaller things such as spawning with a 2-plate carrier or self-revive. There's other things that I think are a little egregious, such as spawning in with a medium backpack or a whole UAV at your disposal. And if I'm not mistaken, it's like unlimited UAVs, which like, I don't know how that's not pay to win. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong, but that just sounds ridiculous. Regardless, that is absolutely without a doubt spawning in with an advantage that you paid for. Then there's also added effect for weapon blueprints that'll give it a reduced cooldown so you can use it again like right after deploying. Like most of them are like 15 minutes, where normally it's like at least an hour, most of the time like 2 to 3 hours, I think. Then there's the active duty operator slots, which you only have 3 by default, and the only way to get more is by buying operators. I'm not even kidding. When you're in the active operator menu, the other slots are literally locked behind a paywall. Like this is straight up, takes you to the store and everything.
It's so funny. I had no idea because I never played
another advantage. It would be different if in DMZ it was strictly PvE, but since you can go head to head with others, I find this pretty lame. Modern Warfare 3 Zombies has a similar pay to win features as well, which is also cringe, but that's really all just PvE. So at that point, it's kind of gives me like mobile game vibes. Like if you just want to speed up the process, go ahead and throw some money for these little like boosts. Like really, that's not really doing much harm. Whereas in DMZ, in theory, you can always spawn in with a UAV, use that UAV right when you start, and go hunt another team which doesn't have a UAV and kill them off rip, which is just shameless. thermal sights haven't really seen much viability since the old days of Warzone, where the thermal sniper optics in that game will let you see anyone from any range, and then until they got nerfed. Well, the Damascus heat tracer pack gave you a variable of the heat source 800, which was probably still the best thermal sniper optic we've seen since the launch of Warzone 1. The blue dot not only felt like it was crystal clear and also kind of removed clutter from the scope, but the enemies seemed to show up a lot more and carry a lot more vibrancy.
That's insane.
I'm actually colorblind, so I'm not sure if I'm the one who should be having strong opinions about this, but to me it seems like a noticeable difference, and for some people could definitely take advantage of. So with Season 5, they added a dog finisher, and that dog's name is Merlin. Well, Merlin comes with an added perk in the form of a buff.
Oh, I remember this. Okay, I remember this.
Which is probably one of the most popular perks in the entire game. We all know the high alert pings your screen from wherever someone is looking at you, but the one time it doesn't do this is when someone's right in front of you, or obviously when someone's using cold-blooded. Well, with Merlin equipped as your finisher, that's right, this is the only finisher on this list. Whenever someone in front of you aims at you, you'll get a bark from Merlin.
That's right.
I'll be honest, I didn't even see the guy aiming at him until I rewatched that video like 3 times. If this was me in this scenario, had Merlin not barked, I would never have known someone was in front of me, which is a common occurrence in Warzone. In Warzone, the map is huge and it's easy to miss players, and high alert going up to 100 meters is a considerable distance, especially when it's right in front of you. This is especially useful for when people are using sniper optics that don't have glint. The only downside to this perk is that the dog is audible to other players, and with that results in enemies being able to hear it, which could give away your position maybe. But I would argue that the benefit is far greater than the negative here, making it a true pay-to-win item. I don't even know if you can still use this in Warzone 3. I know all items transferred from Modern Warfare 2, so unless they change this behavior, you can still use this. But someone comment if you can still use this or not. Alongside the Merlin dog in Season 5, we also got the Dark Rituals Tracer Pack, which came with the thermal sight everyone was running, right? Also in this Tracer Pack, literally every element about the DMZ pay-to-win is present here. You've got like the free UAV, the free backpack, the free operator slot.
That is insane, by the way.
Cooldowns, literally all of it's going on here. Just thought that was kind of funny. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the SZ Holotherm that was part of the blueprint. Now, we've already discussed how useless thermals have been since Warzone 1, but if you were going to use any thermal sight on an AR, it was going to be this one. It was honestly decently clean, and since Warzone 2 is really heavy on the smoke grenade meta, this had its fair share of viability. However, this Dark Rituals Holotherm, the optic was just flat out better. I'll just let this comparison of the two let it speak for itself. I mean, it's really easy to tell. I can't really pinpoint why this looks so good other than the Dark Rituals actually filling out their character model, whereas the regular one just kind of shows an outline, and honestly barely even does that. Aside from the players popping, the overall look when you're looking at the map and other objects, pretty much when you're aiming at anything that's not a player, it still looks really clear and clean. And then even on top of that, when someone's using cold-blooded, the Dark Rituals Holotherm pretty much gets nerfed to like the regular Holotherm, whereas the regular Holotherm gets completely useless. Similar story here, not sure if you can still use this or if they nerfed it or changed it whatsoever, but this is probably really good if you're going for a nuke.
I remember.
Alright, I already know that the Doom shotgun bundle had no attachment or characteristic that you couldn't do with the normal Lockwood 300, but I feel like it was worth mentioning since it played a heavy role in bringing the one-shot shotgun to everyone's attention. I'm pretty sure this bundle also didn't tell you what attachments were being used and just took over your shotgun without telling you that the dual trigger was the reason for the one-shot. So regardless if it was pay to win or not, people were definitely convinced it was pay to win, and many bought this for that sole reason. Also, on a side note, this is probably one of my favorite blueprints because Doom is awesome and these animations are sick. The Groot skin was introduced.
Yeah, Groot's like the new Roze, right?
Towards the end of Warzone 2's life cycle, but it is arguably even worse than the Roze skin for a couple of different reasons. Aside from being really hard to see, what I thought was different about this is that it was like just overall smaller, it felt. Now, I know the hitbox stays the exact same, but that doesn't exactly make it easier for the player to hit them when your brain is still going to want to shoot at what's visible. I know there's a ton of people out there who think that its hitbox was actually smaller, but there's little to no evidence to support this, so that's just like not a thing. Anyways, if you were playing when this dropped, it was pretty awful time to be around, and eventually they took it out of the game and they gave it kind of a rework similar to what they did with the Roze skin, only this time I do think it was like really dramatic. Instead of just updating on the spot like they did with Roze, they had to completely vault the skin from the game, so that's how you know it was just really bad. The closest thing to the Roze skin we've had, aside from Groot, would probably the LA Thieves skin. Pretty much the same idea with the whole blacked out getup. Don't want to go too in depth because we've already talked about a couple skins being OP. They eventually added like super vibrant red straps to the backpacks and made the logo even brighter, and like also like the goggles, which is just the right way to nerf these kinds of skins. Gonna go ahead and give Black Noir an honorable mention here, even though I don't think it's all that bad, especially when compared to the other ones on this list. Just figured I'd lump it in here.
I wonder if he's gonna include this head thing right here, because that's kind of like a current one people are talking about. Oh, this is the new tracer pack.
Being honest, I think this one is a stretch, but if used correctly, it puts you at an advantage, I guess. The Spare Ribs Tracer Pack, which was applicable to the LSW and the WSP9, which as of me recording this, are very much so in the meta right now. The blueprint is translucent and allowed the player to see more on their screen than usual, but to me, it was only really good if you were using iron sights, and well, since your gun was transparent, it was kind of hard to use the iron sights. The only real way to fix this was by using a camo to brighten it up, and at that point, I think you're kind of defeating the purpose of using the blueprint in the first place. But there's a lot of people right now who are kind of like swearing up and down that this is pay to win and just like a really broken mechanic, which I don't know.
The bottom line is like when you're aiming here, just prime
swearing
example.
up and down that this is pay to win and
so like not even
just like a really broken mechanic, which I
like. You can see like if this you didn't have this blueprint, right? That's all blacked out. So like you can technically see here.
I don't know if I'd ever go that far. There's also a handful of other blueprints like this, but this is the one that's kind of just like all the rage right now. So I figured I'd talk about it. Now we're at modern day, where the new pay-to-win trend has been releasing operators that have an added double XP effect if you're playing with friends using the same skin. The more you're playing with, the more it goes up, all the way up to double XP. Now, usually when I'm playing Warzone, it's with a full squad. Like, you will rarely catch me solo queuing. So that means that whenever I'm playing, I can pretty much always have double XP.
Even know about
and
that.
This marketing tactic is so clever that me and my friends bought the web skin the second it dropped. I mean, I can't even blame them here because you're getting 4 variations of the same skin that just look ridiculous, and it gives you double XP. So that's just free money for Activision. But it kind of like defeats the charm of like ranking up and kind of like grinding your guns, and really like it used to feel like you had to really just go for it, and now that's kind of just like stripped away. I really don't think this is like a crazy pay to win scheme. It's kind of more like a pay to convenience thing like I was talking about before, but I can still see why this is sour for other people.
Is there a VPN in the game?
This is honestly a really stupid entry on here because it really has nothing to do with Activision or Raven or like Warzone at all. This is all external. But if it's what it's come to, it's kind of like highlighting how skill-based matchmaking kind of ruined COD, and COD should maybe like go back to the way things were. Also, I've never used a VPN, but if that's your thing, I mean, so be it. I'm not going to stop you. Just don't lie about it. Really just putting this in here for the meme of it. But that's every pay-to-win item in Warzone history. Let me know if you think these are actually pay-to-win or if I missed anything on this list. And again, with the whole voice, I'm sorry if I sound disinterested here. I promise.
I want to see if someone made a comment about that one-shot blueprint.
If it's your first time here, I promise I don't normally sound like this. But check out some of my other Warzone videos. Stop by one of my live streams right here on YouTube. Don't have to go to another app. Join my Discord if you're feeling crazy. And if you liked, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Comment if you like. And thank you so much for watching.
Ornery's videos are super well done. Let me see in the comments. I don't see anyone talking about it. Oh wait, someone did it here. 2 other blueprints on Warzone 1. EBR 14, you can one-shot any range. That was the one that I thought. And then he said, Black Ops Cold War AK-47 Iron Sights was like having an optic. I forgot about that one too. I remembered the one-shot. It was the EBR. And I remember when it dropped, people are like, dude, this thing's one-shotting. And I used it, and it literally one-shot any range. It was crazy.